Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 2 of our GT3 Season 25 Championship. You're listening to the beautiful voice of Cameron de Bastos here, hoping to take you through tonight's entertaining race as we showcase some of the newest skills that we have out here on circuit. Let's head on over to the track as we go towards the beautiful countryside of the Nurburgring, situated in Germany's Alfil region. This 5.1 kilometer track is full of 16 turns, making it a beautiful circuit and has most iconic turns such as the Michael Schumacher S, as well as the Mercedes Arena, built in 1982 to 1983 and recently renovated in 2002. Let's head on over to qualifying as it is going on way. Currently leading out on circuit is the likes of Chris Harris, setting a phenomenal pace out front with a 56.6, but quickly snatches away from the likes of Donnie Bosch, who's already up there over the circuit. Now please, hello to everybody out there in the virtual grandstand. I hope you are enjoying tonight, and I hope you really enjoy all the action that we have to offer out here on circuit, as we want to showcase some new up-and-coming talent in our AM server for both gold and silver drivers out there tonight. Now we're going to see a whole bunch of new names there with the returning of the likes of Jakub Probler. Now this is a driver who has raced ACC in the previous times, but has gone around and decided to come back after taking a small stint to the likes of iRacing and joining many of the drivers over there. And currently all the way across the circuit is this is Jakob Christel. Apologies, looks like I'm not picking up many of some of the drivers here now, which is quite strange. Sorry, still trying to sort out some issues we are currently experiencing around here. So ladies and gentlemen, just quickly sorting out some minor technical difficulties, as we do want to bring the best possible streaming service for you all out here, but just quickly needing to sort out some stuff, as this is a bit on the new side for me. It is our pro commentator Stephen Koenig that handles this, so that I just stuck with me. It was all working fine, but of course, as later luck would have it, we would have some technical difficulties that comes and makes us into the fray of things. apologize for the issues that I was trying. Some technical difficulties here on my side, trying to get everything to work, so I do really apologize for this, as this is not what I wanted to happen. Camera controls been a bit problematic tonight here, clearly, as it does not want to work with me. But in order to keep on trying my best to get everything sorted. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, I have been muted the whole time. I only noticed that now. As you can see, I'm clearly new, but currently going through our standings as we look at the final times for our qualifying minutes. Leading the way in our standings is the likes of Kieran Harris, sitting a 154.8, really putting in quite a good time there. And then second is the likes of Rick Thomas of Extreme Sim Racing with a 154.8, only 1/100th of a second separating the top two there, and close behind is Donnie Bosch with 155.2, which is the last time that he said, as they all wait for the final times to go. Now let's take a quick look over our standings. Currently for the championship, we have the likes of Rick Thomas leading the way, currently on pole, currently in second place with a 52 current standing over Kieran Thomas, who's only 43 behind, and close behind is Kieran Harris, sorry, and right behind is the likes of Andrew Harris, the two Harris brothers fighting it out for the overall AM Gold win there. Then over to our AM Silver class, we've got Jean Klutter taking the lead there after a battle that he had in the previous season, where he was fighting it out with the likes of our with the all team SPR currently fighting there. But he is currently sitting in 17th, not fourth in our AM Silver class, and hoping to continue with his charge up the field. In second place, we've got the likes of Chantal Hansen. Now, this is a name that has been racing in the past, but is currently back again, fighting it out for our AM Silver, sitting in second place behind Jean, and hoping to keep in front the likes of Jaco Engelbrecht. Now, Jaco Engelbrecht is currently just 4 positions behind the likes of Hansen, 3 positions behind the likes of Hansen, and hoping to go there. Let's quickly check here. Apologies for that. Yes. Thank you for that, Dan. I'm just had to sort out some stuff there, so it should be good. Apologies for that. There we go. Apologies. Sorry, gents, or ladies and gentlemen, out there in the virtual grandstand. I'm trying to manage everything here on the same side while still trying to give you the best I possibly can while showcasing the talent that we have here out on circuit. Currently out on circuit is Rick Thomas, hoping to improve, but with time counting down, he will not be able to improve of his time. And we have looked at that. It should be a bit better now. Should be a bit better now on the audio side, as well as trying to manage everything that we possibly on the side here. But thank you for the feedback there, ladies and gentlemen, as I am just trying to get to grips with everything out there. But in the virtual grandstand, we have Dan shouting for Chantal Hansen, cheering her on as she goes and fights out for the championship there in the for the lights. Apologies. She's going to fight it out for our Am Silver. She is currently setting the pace for Am Silver and hoping to prove still, but not being able to anywhere up on our delta there. But thank you very much there. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Just trying to get everything on the side with everything, of course, not going well as one would have hoped for the first outing for myself on this side. With the final minutes counting down, we see some of the drivers to go out there with Rick Thomas still trying to lap, but unfortunately down on his delta, not able to improve as he goes through the chicane before hard braking going on into the final corner there. The car to watch currently is the likes of Wesley Harrower, 10th up on his personal best, unfortunately losing that time now, but gains it back again as he is trying to find a pace to make him work and getting quite a good run out of that little corner in order to go up some time. Half a second up on his time and hoping to improve a bit more. But so far, Chantal Hansen crossing the line, not improving and staying 4th position, but leading the way for our Am Silver class there. Then Wally Negrini is in 12th currently, 3/10 up on his time and hoping to improve even more as he goes into the long run onto the chicane and hoping to improve there. But the driver to really watch is Wesley Harrower as he goes onto the long left-hander before the long run into the chicane there. But Wally Negrini going into the chicane, hard braking, flicks it left, flicks it right, short the run onto the final chicane and brakes hard again as he exits that corner. Rounding out, only 4/10 up. Will he be able to get the pace? Loses a bit of drive out of the corner, still up on his delta. Is he able to keep it across the line? And he does, but unfortunately does not move him up any positions. But it is still something to go. But Wesley Harrower, unfortunately, an abysmal exit out of the chicane, drops him 4/10, and that is not going to improve him, and also, unfortunately, runs out of time to improve on his lap there. As the drivers are getting ready for the start of this race, we're going to take a look quickly at all the times being set. Just waiting for the switch over for the cars to get the green light from race control to grid and be able to go racing. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. And now, cars on the grid. Let's take a run through of all the cars as we see this beautiful panoramic shot of the cars as they wait for the lights to go racing. It is going to be a full formation lap, meaning the drivers will be able to get heat into the tires, build it up, get it ready, and prepare the brakes for the long run into turn 1. Now, drivers were warned heading into turn 1 to be cautious as for the fact that it's a hard braking zone, meaning there's a lot of side-by-side contact. Drivers will have to be patient where they want to make their move. It is always smart to be mindful of how they want to approach that corner. You don't want to hit your normal brake marker, otherwise you might just end up connecting to the car in front of you and ruining both yours and their race. And you will win a free trip all the way over to the stewarding office, which is not what the drivers would have wanted, especially into round 2 of the championship. But let's take a quick run here through the through the grid here with Kieran Harris leading the way for Team Racing Snails ZA, and closely in second is the like of Rick Thomas of Extreme Sim Racing. Then in third place we've got Donnie Bosch for the likes of his own privateer team, Donnie Bosch Racing there, and in fourth place it should be a bit better there now. Sorry. There we go. Apologies, gents. Ladies and gentlemen, out there in the grandstand there. Trying to get it working all the way on my side here, as everything just keeps on going there. But in fourth place, we've got Chantal Hansen leading the way with a phenomenal time, placing her first in our AM Silver class, but also fourth overall. And right behind them is Rudy Fenter, hoping to get that position from Chantal and get back into fighting position for the podium of our gold. Then in sixth place, we've got Andrew Harris of Racing Snails, hoping to go as the drivers are setting off to go racing once again. Then in seventh place, we've got Chris Krief, followed by Alvin Prim and Alexander Everingham. Now these are all drivers that I'm quite new to. As you can see, this is the rookie side for Racing Snails ZA. So I'm going to learn about the drivers just as everybody else in the grandstand is going to be learning about them. So do bear with me. If you have any fun snippets or any information you want to share with me, you can type it out in the virtual grandstand and I'll be able to read it and let's learn more along with everybody else in the grandstand. Then Francois Buerta of Reaper Negrini Motorsports in 10th, rounding out our top 10 there for our drivers, but 9th in class overall. Then Leon Swan riding in 11th, followed by Wally Negrini, I believe the owner of Negrini Motorsports, and Michael Arsenbrook in 13th position. Gianluca Palmarosa is in 14th, finally coming down to second place in our AM Silver class. Then in 15th place, we've got Wesley Harrower, who seemed to be going up on his pace when it came to the final closing moments of qualifying, but unfortunately lost it after a very bad exit out of the chicane. Followed, then in 16th place, we've got Jaco Engelberg, followed by Jean Klutter. Jean Klutter all the way down in 4th for AM Silver. Not where he wanted to be, hoping to fight it out for and retain his championship lead while he's fighting it out with the likes of Chantal Hosberg. Chantal is quite high up on the grid, so it's going to be quite difficult, and he has his work cut out for them to continue forward. Then in 18th place, we've got Eduardo da Graça, a new name for Racing Snails, really taking control of this lobby and hoping to close down some time and able to gain some positions to the likes of anybody around him. Then returning driver Jaco Grobler, going from the iRacing side all the way to the ACC to have a bit of fun here, hoping to make a bit of moves and gain some positions for everybody after missing round 1 of the ACC season 25 round 25 championship here at RaceFace.Pro. Then we've got Alan Palmarosa in 20th position, followed by Lucas Hubert and Juan van der Westhuizen. Hoping to fight it out once again is Juan Scholes and Jason Randall. In 25th position, we got the likes of Marcus Fraser. And in 26th, we got Jaco Grissel. A lot of Jacos, I'm going to get confused. Hopefully I do not, but I do hope everybody sticks with me here. And then finally, rounding out our back row, we got the likes of Fani Valise, who is hoping to fight his way back after not getting the best qualifying they would have hoped, along with Timothy Full-Yun. And then all the way at the back, we got the likes of Matt Myberg, newcomer and hoping to race, but it seems to be some issues. We might have some technical difficulties with the likes of our drivers. We jump back to the front of the pack as we go for the final chicane, ready to go racing. Kieran Harris has control over the pace of the drivers, setting the pace. Now drivers need to do a preliminary pit stop for this race. It's 120 minutes, meaning that strategy will be key in order to get the best out there. But Kieran Harris holding the brakes as long as he can, brake dragging, driving, trying to get heat into the tires as well as the brakes to get the best out of it. But
green light, go, go, go.
Jeff says it is green light and away we go. Kieran Harris getting a phenomenal stop. Rick Thomas getting caught out and getting swallowed up by the likes of Donny Bosch and Chantal Hansen going down, but going a bit backwards over that time. But Kieran Hansen beautifully placing the car there. Rick Thomas going around the outside, hoping to get a position, but actually loses out, allowing the likes of Donny Bosch to go around the outside, side by side through turn 2. Now it's going into the stadium section, getting a bit loose is Donny Bosch, and losing traction, being placed out on the marbles, allowing Rick Thomas to go on through again. Chantal Hansen, the loser out of all of this, dropping 2 positions down into 6th position. But up in front, we've got the likes of Rudy Feinter putting pressure on Dani Bosch, hoping to gain position from the German manufactured car of the Mercedes being driven there. But oh, contact! Rudy Feinter getting turned around by Andrew Harris. Everybody having to take avoiding action there. Chantal Hansen diving into the gravel, losing even more positions, placing her even further more down in order to placing more down, getting her closer to the likes of her competitors. As you see, the drivers finally crossing the first timing line in hoping to get, finally shuffling out and seeing where every goes there, but dropping down. But some great action there, but Chantal still holding on to the lead. Unfortunately, now getting shuffled back into the mid-pack as they try to go fight it out there. In the lead, Kieran Harris is still busy fighting it out there. He had a good start, but Rick Thomas really using the best pace out of that McLaren. With McLaren just driving, getting his best performance in the straight line, as well as his braking cycle at the end, making sure to allowing the driver to brake a lot later to close the gap, but also get a good exit out of there. But take a look at this Francois Buerta contact. Francois Buerta and looks like to be Willie Negri getting contact there. Let's see what happened there as we go back. Oh, that's just going to be the end of it though. Let's see if we can get a bit more. Might not be able to. That's not the contact that he would have wanted, unfortunately. Let's see if we can get a bit more. Here we go, going into the bus stop. Not bus stop, little chicane. Hard on the brakes. I believe Volley misjudged his braking, clipped the rear, spins around, and Francois Buerta loses out positions. Fortunately, not able. Unfortunately, losing it out there and continuing his race, but a slow car there. Not how he would have wanted his race to go, unfortunately. Now, back to the light as we go to live there, just waiting for broadcasting. Contact once again, Michael Hasenbroek. It looks to be commentator's curse. Michael Hasenbroek being turned around. Let's see what happened here. Just loses, unfortunately, going into the Mercedes arena section there and getting spun around. Unfortunately, not what he would have wanted and not how he would have wanted his race to go there. It's definitely one that he would want to get, finally getting running there. But out in the lead, Kieran Harris getting about a second gap over the likes of Rick Thomas. But Volin Gary, after his mishap, needing to defend against the likes of Alvin Prim there, needing to get in there. But currently our closest battle on circuit is the likes of Jason Randall, having to defend against Rudy Feinter. Rudy Feinter having a phenomenal start in the beginning of the race, but unfortunately going and getting into a bit of contact, which resulted in him going and losing some positions. Let's take a look at the BMW of Gianluca Palmarosa, unfortunately carrying a bit of damage there on the front bumper, having been a result of an incident there. But I do see some incidents coming through more. There's a lot of contact through, but we do also see another car already in the pits with the likes of Wesley Harrower, fortunately not being able to continue after that bit of incident. But Tisi Lucas going for Griffin Sim Racing, going around the back of the pack, unfortunately circulating on his own after a bit of a mishap happening there. Let's take a look again at this close battle for P5 between the likes of P6, between the likes of Volin Giri and Alvin Print. McLaren versus the Ferrari. Now the Ferrari is built to be a car for endurance racing, but it has proven to be quite a formidable force when it comes to the likes of even sprint racing. But you can view the 80-minute race as a form of a bit of endurance, but also in the form of not many drivers choosing to attack it as a sprint, go full out with a full tank of fuel in order to see it to the very, very end. But then you also get drivers who are quite smart and decide to do a bit of a lift and coast, save the fuel as much as possible as a form to cut the amount of time spent at the end of their pit stop and not having to do the full 30-second stop that the drivers are forced to do. Taking a look again, our closest battle on circuit currently now remaining is the likes of Jean Klutter, to that of Francois Buerta. Now Francois Buerta, as we have a yellow flag for car, I'm trying to find out which car is that unfortunately is dropping down. It's not Joseph Randall. It is Ruan van der Westhuizen, unfortunately. Let's see what happened here. See the flags. Unfortunately, things might have just been clipped there a little bit, spinning him around and needing to recover. Unfortunately, losing some positions there, forcing him to drop out from that fight that he was going to. But John Klutter needing to closest battle on circuit. No, Jason Randall in a three-way fight between himself of Ruan Scholes and Jaco Grissel. Being there, humping down, but the Lexus hoping to defend against the mighty Bentley. Bentley, the car that we haven't seen in recent seasons, fighting it out with the likes of the newer generation of Lamborghini, Mercedes, as well as Ferrari and McLaren. But we do see some old cars both here, the likes of Jason Randall and Ruan Scholes having to fight out, but see what's going on. But let's jump on board and see how the just from the helmet view how the drivers are, as we take a beautiful look here from Ruan Scholes, hoping to go on the inside with the likes of Jason Randall. Things better on the brakes, going for a bit of it. Jason Randall running deep, but on the inside, now on the outside, side by side through turn 2 as they exit, going into the Mercedes Arena section there. A very little tricky part, but a brilliant move made by the likes of Ruan Scholes there, getting able to go around the outside and getting that position from the likes of Jason Randall there. Further up the field, we still got the likes of Volen Nigiri fighting it out with Alvin Preen, keeping his mirror full, but the gap is a bit of an extension side, not able to go. But Jaco Engelbrecht got a driver jumping down. I'm curious to see what has happened. These two are still fighting it out, trying to find out what is going on here. It seems to be a driver dropping out more and more, not sure who it is, as we try to see what's going on. We didn't, might have missed the yellow flag notification on our side, but seems to be going around, still going strong as we do go here. But further up the field, we do have, as the drivers are starting to settle into a bit of a rhythm to find out. But Rick Thomas, telemetry going as he crosses the line, being a bit different, but the likes of Kieran Harris pulling a beautiful gap as he crosses the line there in order to go there. But personal best lap set for all the drivers this time around. No accidents as of yet reported for the previous lap, but all the drivers just going around, finding the rhythm and going on to set as the best time, so in order to close the gap to the cars in front of them. Taking a look at our AM Silver class, Chantal Hansen defending against the likes of Leon Swan. Now these drivers are not in the same category, however they are still fighting for position, and there is no rule about fighting a driver that is in a higher class than you. Chantal coming back out and fighting, showing these drivers that I might be in the AM Silver class, but I can still stick it out with you AM Gold drivers. Not going to make it very easy for them as he is trying to battle out there. Back right behind Chantal, we've got the likes of Leon Swan defending against Francois Bueta, who is closing a bit of a gap, but not much with the timing tower showing the gap going down, but unfortunately it is not, still staying a bit the same compared to what it should be, and not anything changing pretty much there or anything as such. Do you see the likes of Eduardo de Grassa unfortunately dropping down the field due to the damage that is currently handling, about 2 seconds slower than his personal best time. Let's see what happened on the move here. Currently behind him was the likes of Ruan Scholes and Jason Randall, but Ruan able to go and make a move past them and allowing the likes of Ruan to go through, and Ruan just able to pull that gap a bit more and closing in on the likes. But 7 seconds up is the likes of Ruan Scholes already, as he is hunting down the likes of Jean-Luca Palmarosa, fighting his way up from the back of the pack into a top 15, potentially trying to secure as many points as he possibly can. Watch as we get back from the replay. Three-way fight. Eduardo de Grassa not backing down without a fight. Jumping over the curbs is the Bentley of Scholes, but de Grassa able to just make a move with that damaged BMW. The BMW treating him well compared to the likes of the Bentley. switching back to our 14th place position. We've got a McLaren versus a Ferrari versus a Porsche. It is the British versus the Italians versus the likes of the Germans, with a beautiful switchback maneuver there from the like of Matt Marburg being able to get the move done on Rudy Fenter, and now hoping to defend and set his sights after the likes of Marcus Freyson and Alan Palmarosa up ahead in the McLarens. The Extreme Sim Racing team hoping to make some moves, but he has his mirrors full with the Porsche of Rudy Fenter, keeping him busy as he really decides to take a look on the inside, but unfortunately decides better. Off goes the likes of Alan Palmarosa. Not with one of lights flashing as he has a bit of a bad rejoin, interfering with the fight between the likes of Matt Myburg and Rudy Fenter. Those drivers not very happy, and now taking defensive line again, 3 wide, going on the inside. Things better, placing the car beautifully is the likes of Alan, hoping to cover off any form of attack, but right behind him is Rudy Fenter, getting fouled up and not very happy, going on, hoping a better run out of the corner and slingshotting past the likes of Matt Myburg, hoping to gain more momentum and go after Alan Palmarosa. Further down the field, we have for 19th, just as we switch over, Eduardo de Grassa deciding, listen, enough is enough. I am going to go and get this car fixed and get my pit stop sorted, with Gianluca Palmarosa also into the pits. So 2 of the Racing Snails drivers both jumping into the pits, both BMWs looking second hand and not quite happy with that front end, unfortunately getting involved into earlier contacts and resulting in a drop down the field and loss of positions, not what he would have wanted and not how they would have wanted to start their race. Back on circuit, we've got Alan Palmarosa fighting it out with the likes of Rudy Fenter behind him, the Porsche. Oh, Rudy Fenter actually got past Alan Palmarosa and is now really showing the pace that he has within in the engine of in that little Porsche. The Porsche, of course, being a straight line flat 6, getting the most drive out of the corners there, and Alan not being able to really go, but he does have for company the likes of Matt Myburg. Now Matt was fouled up earlier in his battle with the likes with Rudy Fenter and wasn't very happy with that, so has to go and fight his way around Alan, but having a bit of a difficult time as we have 3 cars in the pits from Ruan van der Westhuizen, who's trying to get the BMW sorted again, and also with Eduardo de Grassa. But I do believe we already have a retirement, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, with the likes of Wesley Harrower not having a very good race and calling it quits, beating the car onto his jacks and being pushed into the garage with the garage door closing. But also Timothy Fulhun still out on still in the car, but unfortunately the car not running or functioning, so I presume that that is it for the car, unfortunately. But we do have another car into the pit, Greeny, after a contact early on in the race and cutting across the kitty ladder at the chicane, and having fought it out with other drivers on circuit, is back in the pits doing his pit stop to get it off the board, or one of his 2 pit stops to get that done and dusted, as we do finally see the likes of Ruan van der Westhuizen finally going back out after a stop. But back on circuit, we have some damage on Marcus Freysen's car. Was that due to contact that happened now? Right before we cut away from that, side by side racing between the likes of Rudy Fenter and Marcus Freysen, but the McLaren definitely carries some damage on his bodywork there on the side, probably from some earlier contact, as we did see an accident report for them. But Greeny now dropping down the pack, coming just out of the box, going to say, but 2 up the road in the lead. As I just switched away, we see another side-by-side battle between Rudy Fenter and Marcus Freysen. Both of these drivers side by side, hard on the brakes, into the sweeping left-hander in the Michael Schumacher S's, and then going down hard on the brakes. Who's going to be the best? Who's going to be the bravest? This, of course, brings the likes of Matt Myburg in. Rudy Venter, bravest on the brakes, able to sneak past him, but Rudy, where's Matt Myburg? There he is. Might have lost him a bit there, running a bit deep into the corner and losing time, but Marcus Fraser running wide on corner exit, allowing Matt Myburg to get a proper run onto the curb. Matt Myburg not where you want to be going into that sweeping corner. Hard on the brakes. Who's the bravest? Who's the bravest? Matt Myburg sneaks right on through, rumbles over the curbs, and is able to go there. But we do have an accident between, I believe, contact between the likes of Marcus Fraser and Matt Myburg there in the chicane. Fortunately, getting triggered by our little system here. But Chantal Hansen still holding down the fort for our AM Silver class, able to showcase that she might not have the greatest of starts, but she's still able to keep the pace, pulling a great time over the likes of Jean Kluter, over 10-ish seconds, one can almost say. But right back to the fight between Alan Palmarosa and Jaco Engelbrecht, the Racing Snails teammates. No team orders between these two. The two rookie teammates fighting it out, of course, in their own respective teams within the organization, hoping to take it out and fight there. But McLaren taking the defensive line against the front engine car of the BMW. Just taking a look in the virtual grandstands here, Dan Shilwell going on and cheering on the likes of Chantal there, saying that she just keeps on getting better, and that's what we like to see here at RaceFace.Pro. It is where we like to foster a good community racing and help all drivers improve on how they race, as well as the fights they have out there on circuit. Ooh, bit of dust being kicked up there from Marcus Fraser, really dropping off of pace already, not able to keep to Rudy and Matt in front, as Matt sets after Rudy Venter in the Porsche. Now this is a battle, not really a battle between Rudy and Venter and Myburg, but as Myburg is currently sitting third in the AM Silver Championship, well, currently on the grid, with Fraser in fourth. But now it's all still about maximizing points or just trying to best. But Rudy Venter hoping to really go and climb his way up. His next target will be Jean Kluter. Now Jean, second in our silver class, but still trying to hunt down the likes of Hansen. But Venter focusing his sights on the likes of Francois Buerta, who is his next target, who's trying to hunt down Leon Swan, who is right in front of him in the Lamborghini Huracan Evo 2. And ladies and gentlemen, I will say this, the Huracan Evo 2, it is a beautiful, beautiful machine. Having heard it in real life, the sim does not do it justice. We are lucky in South Africa to have, I believe, three of these machines running in our local series, and it is absolutely beautiful. The screaming V10 as it goes around our local circuits here. But we also have a beautiful, beautiful Mercedes AMG GT3. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but up in front we do have the likes of Kieran Harris running the pace and setting the pace, still pulling a beautiful gap over the likes of Rick Thomas, holding about a 2-second gap over Rick Thomas. But right behind Rick Thomas, we have the Mercedes AMG of Dani Bosch. Dani just holding pace, running in the 156s, not able to match the times of the 155s that is currently being run by the likes of Kieran and Rick Thomas. Further back, we have Alexander Everingham sitting in fourth position there, just trying to get the gap closer to Dani Bosch, but not really able to do it, as he is a bit of a half a second slower to Dani, with Andrew Harris hoping to get past Alexander Everingham, both of them Racing Snail teammates. But well, that's a back marker in front of Andrew Harris, trying to see which number that is. Unfortunately, not able to try to kind of see it entirely there. But further action on the field, we have Rudy Venter and Jean Kluter. Now, this is our closest battle on circuit currently. Jean Kluter carrying some damage on that front end of the car. and Rudy Fenter just maintaining what he can in order to get past it, but also has to play smart to really get there, as Jean Cloutier is in his right to defend, but just a bit wide, allowing Rudy to sneak on by around the outside. Rudy just able to keep it there, going through and up, setting his sight on like Francois Buerta, the next position in class. Further up the field, let's take a look again at our front runners. Kieran Harris having to navigate some of our back markers now as he is beginning to lap. Now you will see a blue flag being waved there, ladies and gentlemen. That blue flag shows, it's an alert to the car in front saying, listen, you have faster traffic coming up. You don't have to dive out the way, but be mindful, as we don't follow the F1 rule stating that you need to immediately move out of the way to allow the faster guy coming through. You just need to be mindful, assist the pass, as that is not your race to compete in, as they need to allow the faster driver to come through here. But further down the grid, we do still have only Timothy Forgue finally back out on circuit, circulating after a very lengthy pit stop, having the front end of that Mercedes need to be fixed out there. But further up the field, closest battle is between these two drivers, Fani Valiz, as he is being lapped by our front runners and needing to mine out the way. We do see a bit of a yellow flag popping up, trying to find out who is it that has gone down, but the green flag is now back to green flag racing. Not many incidents or contacts happening throughout the race here, as we do see some good clean racing happening for all our drivers on the circuit today. Oh, there we have. Who is the car? That is Ruan van der Westhuizen, going extremely slow. Let's see if we can hop on board and just hear what's going on. Might have hit the wall, lost it out, coming out of the corner, mining off of the circuit as a way to avoid getting in the way of any of the other drivers. Top of the helmet, steering wheel still looks straight, minding as not the place where the car behind him would have wanted him to hit him. That's not what he would have wanted, but mindful driving, getting off of the circuit to allow the other drivers to safely pass through in order to not interfere with their races on that side. Now back to our closest battle on circuit. Matt Myberg is fighting it out with Jean Cloutier. Now Matt and Jean both in the same division, meaning that this is fighting it out for P2 in class, with Jean already carrying some damage and deciding the bet of it, either not having a good run out of the Schumacher SS and rather just not having the pace to defend against the likes of Matt Myberg, or just saying, listen, I still have a pit stop I need to do, I'd much rather have you go. But this did allow Marcus Freyson to close right back onto his rear tail, as the McLaren is hunting down after being swamped with the likes of Pro and of gold and silver drivers, finding his rhythm again in that McLaren that's quite close to the ground and does not like hitting the curbs in any shape or form. Further up the field, we have Alexander Everingham and Andrew Harris fighting it out. However, they do have a bit of a back marker between the two of them, seeming there as the timing tower keeps showing a gap that is closing, but unfortunately it is not the gap that we are trying to see there. It's not the one that we currently see on circuit. That is another driver. That is one of our back markers who is currently just circling around there as trying to find our closest fight on circuit. In 17th place back down, we have Jason Randall circulating around the track. In front of him is Jaco Embrecht. These two fighting in alpha position. Jaco carrying a bit of damage on the front end of that car, not what he would have wanted. As we take a bit of a closer look, the big back off warning on the rear of the car, but the bonnet flapping, they're definitely affecting the top end speed as well as any form of aerodynamics of the car, with the BMW having the big front openings on its front bumper, allowing a lot of airflow to go into that front radiator to keep the car functioning at its optimal temperature. Taking a look again at our front pack, we have Kieran Harris having to navigate a car exiting the pits, hopefully not getting fouled up, but that will foul up the likes of Rick Thomas. as that's not where you want to have the car placed as they come out of the pits. The car number 14 unfortunately meeting the likes of Van der Vessers, and as he just came out of the pits, putting a bit of a gap, but allows the likes of Dani Bosch to come closer and closer as they head into the Mercedes AMG arena. Further back again for our in the fight between our second field position in our AM Silver class. We've got Matt Myberg and Jean Klutter, both of them fighting it out already. Now, I do know that we want to see the action up front, but this is our closest battle on circuit, as this is for a podium spot. Hard on the brakes is Jean Klutter, trying to see if we can get a bit of an onboard shot here as he sets after the likes of Matt Myberg. Matt really taking good care of the tyres and showing some phenomenal pace, lapping in the 58s, even though the last lap around Jean Klutter was a tenth faster compared to that of Matt Myberg. Further up the field, we do have Alvin Prim. No, sorry, not Alvin Prim. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. Francois Buerta fighting it out, or trying just to maneuver it up there, trying to get as fast as, well, closer actually to Leon Swan. So it was the Lamborghini, might have just a different number there. Apologies from my side. Trying to get closer to the car in front of him with Chantal Hansen, our lone gold and silver driver, fighting it out for a 7th position overall, but she's going to be swamped quite soon with the likes of our gold drivers. So she will either need to move forward or defend. She is entitled to the fight against them, but it's all about being mindful and who you are racing in the championship. As the rear gets a bit loose, as she gets fouled up by a back marker who is not trying to defend against them, but is indicating they're showcasing, listen, I'm keeping all the way to the left, please pass my inside on the right hand side of me, but the rear stepping out on Chantal there as she defends against the like of Leon Swan. Leon hard on the brakes, using that power of the Lamborghini to come to a very good stop there, but that does allow him to get closer right underneath the rear wing of Chantal of the Ferrari. Now this is Italian on Italian fight. Who will be the best, as we see going into the pits is Alvin Prim and Rudy Fenter, hoping to get one of their stops done and dusted before the end of the race. Many of the drivers already finding their rhythm. They're out on circuit, not needing to really push anything, and it's still got an hour, still got 51 minutes and 30 seconds left in this race, meaning it's still a long stint to go for these drivers. There's no point in wrecking the car just yet. So both of these drivers are playing quite smart. Chantal just keeping comfortable pace, even though still keeping an eye on the mirrors to know where Leon is going to be, as she does know losing positions to the two cars behind her brings her closer to the likes of Matt Myberg, which is also as the Lamborghini goes a bit wide, not really liking the curbing over there by the Michael Schumacher S's, and getting scraped a bit and dragging some gravel out onto the circuit, which will hopefully not have damaged his tires and keep them in the fight for 7th position. Now up in front, we do still have Kieran Harris still setting the pace, leading from the start, not losing any position, but we have our first of our top 5 pitting, Dani Bosch into the pits. Will this be a full stop, or will it only be fuel? Cars not going up onto the jacks, seems to be only a splash. Quite interesting to see what the driver will be doing. Hopping on board, car switched off as the rules do not allow for the car to be switched on to function, as we do have a yellow flag again, trying to figure out who it is that's going to happen. But the mighty engine of that Mercedes firing up as it exited the pits again, rolling around the circuit. Now I have to be mindful of who is coming up. That seems to be a clear track, cutting a bit of pit exit there. Hopefully the stewards did not notice that, otherwise it might be a post-race penalty that can be applied for joining the track in an unsafe manner. Taking a look back onto the back of our pack, we've got Jakub Hrobler fighting it out with Volley Negrini. Volley, fortunately not having a good race start, earlier on. Jakub being mindful, I did speak to him earlier today, seeing as he's being a bit of a newcomer to the race. I asked him, what's the plan? I mean, this is new sim, you're not used to it. I seen correct here, going back, jump back now, Rudy Fenter into the pits once again for his second time. But back to Jakub Hrobler, driver who has gone on, mentioned before, who has gone and raced ACC, got his feet in RaceFace on ACC side, and now went over to racing with Team Heap together back then, and now again just for fun jumping into the ACC side, being completely off pace and trying to put it out there, but just keeping out the way, not hoping to get involved with other drivers' championship battle. But Marcus Frazen into the pits. I saw him earlier going into the pits, might just be exiting the pit lane now on his pit way out. But Rudy Fenter, strange to see, dropping the car, not firing up there. There we go, rolling. I wonder if that might have been a bit of an ACC glitch. We had it before where the driver goes in, doesn't do all this required to count as a pit stop, and we'll keep an eye on there as it is around the time that the drivers will start, where the drivers are starting to get their strategy. So many of the drivers will be having a bit of a different strategy. Drivers will be going and stopping early in the race, or even going and stopping later in the race. If it's 2 stops, they will be stopping midway, and at the end of the race, many drivers starting at the start and then midway through into the race. It's all about strategy going into our GT3 racing here, as the drivers are trying to figure out how to get the best out of their opponents, and if an undercut or an overcut will work best for them. Take a look. We have Rick Thomas with a Racing Snails BMW. Now, any of the Racing Snails guys out there who might be listening to the broadcast, can you make it easier for us being to differentiate between the 2 different cars there, as it's quite different to see who's who, but I guess that is what makes team racing so beautiful, as we see again the likes of Alvin Prim into the pits once again. Many of the drivers opting to do both their stops in close proximity to one another, which is not what one would usually see, and it's quite strange, I will say that, to have that going. While it's in the pits, they would take a look here at Andrew Harris having to defend against the car. Who's the car behind him? They're trying to find out there for us. That's the Lexus. Definitely not that Lexus. So that's Lexus behind us, a back mark between the likes of Andrew Harris and Chris Heath. That Lexus does look to be the likes of Michael Hassenbrook. Yes, Michael Hassenbrook just sitting there in the back of the slipstream, just plodding along, circulating around the circuit, hoping to pull closer to the front competitors of Jakub Friesel. Yes, so sniper there. I'm just gonna pull sniper in virtual grandstand. So Rudy is racing while you are at work. That is the cruel nature of sim racing, and also having to pay for this hobby and surviving it. It is Rudy is racing in, but doing an excellent job fighting his way up into the pack and back into contention for many of the drivers up here. Take a look at our front runners once again. Kieran Harris having a phenomenal run, pulling almost a 10-second gap. Let's take a look at our timetables as well as the sector times. Let's take a look at almost about a 4-second gap between Rick Thomas and Kieran Harris, as Harris leads the way and sets the pace for the rest of the pack there. And 17 seconds back is Alexander Everingham. Oh, now it's a bit of updating as the drivers are crossing the timing line there. But back to our on-track action with the cameras here. Chantal Hansen holding firmly against the likes of Francois Buerta. Now, Leon Swan, what happened to Leon? Oh, that's damage on the front of the car. So Leon must have gotten at one point throughout this lap and unfortunately hit the barrier, because that is damage done by our Tech Pro barriers around the circuit to avoid any damage done to the drivers. But it's great to see him still continuing there and hopefully not having too much damage on the car going around. The car is Lamborghini, very, very sensitive on its aero and not wanting to do. But that does allow for some breathing space for Chantal Hansen and allows Francois Buerta to close down on Harris there, but right between them is Marcus Frazen. Marcus just pulling a bit to the side as he is getting blue flagged, but it is the responsibility of the car passing to pass safely, as we see some beautiful flames spitting out of that McLaren 720S Evo. Further on circuit, we do have our closest battle currently is Ruan Scholes and Wole Negrini. Two different classes, but both fighting it out for position, regardless of what your class is. It is all about bragging rights also for the drivers. As you take a look, it is a very nice little temperature out there of 26 tractor, but a warm summer's day of 23 degrees out on circuit, allowing for good grip for all the drivers. As Kieran Harris, what happened here? Kieran Harris into the pits, having that pit stop done and dusted, allowing Rick Thomas to go on through. Now, has he triggered a early pit stop cycle for many of these the top runners? We do not know, but back again to Ruan Scholes and Wole Negrini. No rules between the two classes racing. You are allowed to defend against who you want to. Side by side, running it a bit deep is the likes of Ruan Scholes. Side by side, drag race into turn one as they cross the line. Who's going to be better on the brakes? Who's going to be the bravest on the brakes? Or will the door be shut closed there? Nope. Thinks better. Bit of an early break. Late decision there from the likes of Wole Negrini as it goes on to the inside and sneaks on through to take that position from Scholes. Back to our front pack here. Rick Thomas still continuing, not being tricked out from the likes of Kieran Harrison boxing early. So continuing out and setting the pace. But Alexander Everingham gets called in by his pit wall to say, listen, box, box, box. Let's get us some fresh rubber or fresh fuel, more fuel into the tires. Let's see, as we do have another yellow flag out on circuit. John Klutter, what happened here, ladies and gentlemen? Gonna go back, see if we can get a bit of a replay there. Oh, unfortunately, either getting spun around or a bit of a clip there. Not what I wanted, as he is rejoining onto the circuit now. Dragging a lot of damage, a lot of gravel, and losing it again into the wall once again. Bringing more damage to the front suspension as well as the aero of that Ferrari 296. It's something that has been discussed many times, but that Ferrari, it's something that is quite entertaining, but he is currently defending against the likes of, I believe, Wole Negrini. Not the race that Jean-Claude would have wanted. But luckily, it's still a long season ahead for many of the drivers. As we finally see Alexander Everingham rolling and going through. But Kieran Harris going through already with a phenomenal outlap, being able to gain multiple positions. However, it was not enough for Kieran. Dani Bosch going in early and pitting, pulling the trigger earlier, allowing Dani to sneak on through and gaining a jump over Harris there. Harris having the fastest lap time of the entire race, however not able to keep that position, either getting caught up in traffic on his end lap or caught in traffic on his out lap, losing many positions there. Back out on circuit, we got Jaco Engelbrecht fighting it out, I believe, with Chantal Hansen. However, this is a blue flag scenario for the likes of Jaco Engelbrecht. He does again not have to jump out the way. I know I'm repeating myself, sorry about that, gentlemen, but he does not have to jump out the way, but does mind, runs a bit deep, allowing the likes of Chantal Hansen to continue her charge up the field as she sets her sight on Chris Heerf, who is 11 seconds. Wait, Chris is into the pits, starting to go there. So Chantal Hansen up into third overall, as we do have a car exiting the pit. Another Lexus there going around and going. It's now a race within the pit lane on who is the best, who can get the car out the fastest, and who is able to get the driver a better position. Oh, as we see the likes of Jaco losing it there in the background, but gains it beautifully and is rolling once again. Just take a look at all the action there. Andrew Harris also into the pits, going from second all the way into sixth. This will promote Chantal Hansen up into second position. But Rick Thomas, story of the night so far, still hasn't pitted with 40 minutes remaining on the clock. He is still to do his pit stop. we might have just gotten out of the pits, I do believe. I'm not 100% sure, as Chantal Hansen has been promoted into leading the race. Might have missed that little bit of a stop there, but yeah, that is correct. Apologies for that. So Dani Bosch not having a good stop, waiting for the timing tower to update. No, Dani Bosch getting the jump on both Chris Harris as Kieran Harris, as well as Rick Thomas, having a phenomenal stop. Is the likes of this Mercedes performing quite well, now getting caught up behind behind Leon Swan, who is carrying an extensive amount of damage. But oh, look right back there in the back, Ruan Scores unfortunately getting Ruan Scores getting a stop go 30 and loses it out of in the corner after the Schumacher SS, loses it going into the arena section. Apologies, so that can be of two reasons: speeding into the pit lane or getting off of the pit limiter a bit too early. That has thrown his entire race out the window, unfortunately. Not what he would have wanted or how he would have gone there. But back on circuit, up into the field, we have a close fight. Oh, bit of an unsafe pit entry there from Leon Swan, cutting across the curb, having been pressured by Dani Bosch. But take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Kieran Harris, Dani Bosch, all in one shot, going and fighting back after a phenomenal stop by Dani Bosch's pit crew. The Racing Snails of Kieran Harris is closing all that, all due to a beautiful little battle between Dani and Leon Swan. This will promote Dani into the pits, into the lead as soon as Chantal Hansen goes again in boxes. However, it is still 38 minutes left of this race, so it's going to be quite a battle until the very, very, very end. Take a look there as one of our back markers makes way in to allow this battle for the lead to go on through, as Leon Swan is still in the pits, having to get that damage, finally rolling and going out, rocking that beautiful green chrome livery on that amazing Lamborghini Huracan Evo 2. Let's take again look back at the battle here on the front and try to see who's going on. Let's jump a bit on board with the likes of Kieran Harris to see from his helmet, absolutely love this helmet cam, to see what he is seeing there with that monstrous dash of the Ford Mustang, blocking his view there, but able to see the tail lights of Dani Bosch as he sets sights after. We hope to get the lead back after a series of pit stop. Just listening to that beautiful V8 engine within this Mustang. But take a look at this. Look at that slipstream effect. Look at the drive. Up on the inside goes Kieran Harris, making a brilliant move into turn one on Dani Bosch. Dani Bosch saying, I can only do as much to his pit wall, not able to do anything more to defend against that. But the Mustang just showing it's got the legs on the Mercedes, as now it turns around with Dani Bosch having to go after the Mustang of the Racing Snails Mustang of Kieran Harris. Up in front further is Chantal Hansen, just circulating on her own a bit of clean air in front of her, no pressure on behind, leading the race, but will have to box stall, meaning that she will lose the lead when she does, meaning the likes of Kieran Harris, Dani Bosch and Rick Thomas to all cycle through and allowing her to cycle out maybe in the top 5 depending on how that stop goes and if she's able to hit her box. Back into this fight for second place, Kieran Harris showing again that monstrous pace he showed at green lights, already pulling a second gap over his close competitor, which is Dani Bosch, and not hanging around, setting aside to make a massive and even bigger gap over Dani and any of his close competitor. But back down the field, we have Jakob Robbe still needing to do his pit stop, I believe, with Leon Swan, the Lamborghini, who was fighting it all day, still carrying the damage on that front end. Maybe opting not to do the damage and rather just carry it out, seeing that it did not affect his pace too much but we will see how it fares out there with the likes of Jaco Grobler circulating about a 1:59 to about 2 minutes. Further down the field, Alvin Prim is fighting it out again with Rudy Fenter. Rudy having a phenomenal drive earlier. Another stop go though. Our attention shifting to Timothy Full-Yoon. Unfortunately, Timothy getting off the pit limiter a bit too early, which resulted in a stop go 30, which will destroy his race. Unfortunately, he is still circling around the back of the pack, but it's still a race that he is completing with the likes of Eduardo de Grassa and Ruan van der Westhuizen. Take a look again. Alvin Prim fighting it out. McLaren versus Porsche. British versus German manufacturer. It is a fight of note, but also right above them, Jason Randall, Marcus Freyson. The Lexus Japanese brand fighting it out against the McLaren of Marcus Freyson. The Lexus rocking that all black livery, showcasing carbon fiber underneath the car, underneath the paint jobs that most of the drivers are running there, with the McLaren hunting down. Now this is 4th position with Chantal Hansen already coming out of the pits, it seems, or having done a pit stop as he drops from the lead all the way into 3rd position. Now dropping out, coming under 6th with the timing tower updating. I can also already see there already that Jaco Grobler has led through the likes of Leon Swan. As we do say that, Jason Randall leds through Marcus Fraser, saying, listen here buddy, I know we are fighting for the podium in our class, but I much rather continue and having you drag me along. You have the better pace to me. I'm going to let you drag me along so that we can get closer. But as I say that, backs out of it, getting a good slipstream though into the chicane, but backs out early in order to avoid getting close. A bit squirrely there on the exit as he rumbles over the curbs, which allows Alvin Prim and Rudy Fenter to close on that. Alvin is fighting out for position in class, which will be P3 in podium for the Silvers. But the Lexus, known for its straight line speed, is not one to slouch around. Hard on the throttle, excellent acceleration, and it just tops out. But on the inside, bit of a gutsy move there from the likes of Alvin Prim. Bit of a diving move there, but fortunately gets fouled up. Not confident on the brakes just yet, as Jason saw in his mirrors the car coming up, decided back out last minute, but Alvin not committed. This does foul out the likes of Rudy Fenter as he's trying to fight his way back up to the pits, up to the grid. So he's able to take his fight to his local competitor, which is in this. Oh no, so sorry. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Alvin Prim and Rudy Fenter fight for position as Jason Randall runs wide onto the kitty litter, dragging dust and debris onto the circuit and just dirtying his tires, making it worse for everybody around him. Back in the front though, Kieran Harris showcasing his prowess and his speed as he has pulled an enormous gap over the likes of Donnie Fenter. But he is going to get fouled up though with this battle that we just witnessed between Jason Randall, Rudy Fenter and Alvin Prim. Alvin unfortunately losing out there. Now they need to make way for this. Is it going to play nice, or is it going to be, listen here, I'm in my fight, you have to get a move around here. Sticks his nose up the inside, forces the Lexus driver off circuit. Not forced, but just scares him a bit off circuit. And says, thank you very much, I will come straight on through. Chantal Hansen into the pits. Now, I believe might have been positions lost earlier due to the likes of Kieran Harris and Donnie just able to, but Donnie coming out the pits, I believe, once again, or might have had a bit of an accident for car 3. We do see on circuit that we had an accident for car 367 with 103. That's a bit of a while ago. I do believe they're not noticing that yellow flags popping up there, but back into the front of our back. Jaco Grobler fortunately losing it. Let's take a look at what happened there. Going normally. So we can get a bit of a different camera view there. Into the Mercedes arena. Still keeping clean on throttle. No problems going through the arena section. Hard on the brakes. Might have got a bit too early on the throttle there. In the horseshoe on the going into the corner there, and unfortunately pushing him straight into the wall there, carrying damage there. Not the way that Grobler would have wanted to start his championship fight there. But up front, Kieran Harris finding his way past some of the back markers, now needing to pull another gap with Rick Thomas quite a significant amount right behind him, not able to keep up with the pace of Harris there. But I do still believe, ladies and gentlemen, that these drivers do need to go and still complete one more final pit stop. Further back down the field, we do see a fight, a bit of a fight here between, it's not actually a fight, it's a back marker there, but we do have a yellow flag once again, trying to find out who is it that we lost during that little incident there. Fortunately, not seeing anything picking up on our screen directly there. Jaco Grobler going into the pits now to get that damage shorted there. I wonder, it's not Jaco, it's not Jean Klutter, so another yellow flag that has gone green now there, but our closest battle on circuit currently is these two drivers right here. Rudy Fenter and Jaco Engelbrecht both closing a bit of a gap there, with the leaders coming through to lap them. That has fouled up the likes of Jaco a little bit, allowing the Porsche to close in a bit more into turn one. Just looking at how close they are to one another there. Rudy Fenter, last lap time around, really getting hurt by the damage that is carrying on his car. Only seeing a 2-minute one, while all cars behind him are running sub 2 minutes and going even faster. Side by side, out of stadium section, hard on the brakes, going into the corner. McLaren also being a bit opportunistic there from Alvin, sixes up the inside in 2 corners. Jaco Engelbrecht has lost 2 positions. Fortunately not where it is, but it is also not the cars that he is fighting. He has his sights set on Jason Randall currently behind him, and not the one that he needs to be focused on, as he was hoping to go and fight his ways forward. Further up the field, Alexander Everingham holding 3rd position, but right behind him is Andrew Harris. The Harris, I believe they are brothers. Anybody from the Racing Squirrels, I'm going to keep calling you Racing Squirrels. I apologize for that. To the team owner and drivers there, but the Racing Snails, the Harris brothers, showcasing some phenomenal pace, one in the BMW, one in the Mustang, as car 33, oh, contact, car 33 gets clipped by his own teammate. Luckily it's not Alexander, but that does throw a spanner in the works for the fight for Andrew Harris. Not what he would have wanted for that BMW there. That is not Jaco Grobler that's dropping down the order that's caused that incident. That was another Racing Snails team. Might be couldn't see the number on the car there entirely, but not how he would have wanted to use his teammate to pull him along there. That is going to slow him down significantly, already 3 seconds down on his lap time. Let's take a look here. Lucas Hubert fighting it out with Jean Klutter. Jean able to get past the likes of Hubert, and now just making quick dispatch work, but behind the likes of Lucas, he needs to allow that car in P10, not P10, apologize, to go through there. So try to figure out which number that is from the side, not able to, just yet. It was Alan Palmarosa sneaking on through. The McLaren just getting a better drive, and it seems to be going backward for the Mercedes driver of Lucas Hubert, not able to keep pace with Jean Klutter and the McLaren of Palmarosa. And ladies and gentlemen, I do believe, I hope I'm wrong, that we might have another retirement in the form of Michael Hasenbrook. Michael, if you are listening, if you have anybody in the stream listening, please continue going out there. We want to see all the drivers crossing the line, and it's always good to see those. If you see the green, you always see the checker. That is something that we always say here at RaceFace.Pro, and it's something that we all live by. Back out on circuit, some good fights still going on here. Chantal Hanton holding down the fort for the leading Am Silver, not giving up just yet, having held the lead since the start of the race. Yes, she started in 4th position, dropped down a few positions, but has continued racing as the likes, I believe that will be car number 77. No, not 77. Mining out the way, another BMW, another McLaren there. One of our back markers. Not a McLaren, Mercedes, the other M car. Mining out the way there, that will be the likes of Timothy Fortune, not getting involved in that little fight there between the leader of the AM Silver, in the charge to take up more positions from the gold drivers. Back in front, second position, we got Rick Thomas just circulating again, hoping to get some time back on Kieran Harris. However, his lap times are slowly falling more and more with a 157.7, while Kieran Harris is comfortably running in the 155.1s. That is actually his best lap that he set last lap, which is quite a good pace so early, so late on in the circuit with in the race with 24 minutes left on the clock. The drivers are still showing the race as Andrew Harris goes into the pits in order to fix that damage that he has on his nose. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, how about commentator's curse? Locks the rear diff. Car goes spinning and goodbye into the key loader. Let's take a bit of a closer look there so we can get a bit of an onboard. Just go back there about 10-ish. Nope, not going to happen. It has to be 30-ish minutes. I should go on board the helmet to hear what's going on here. See if we can get that this little screenshot there. There we go. Oh, gets clipped on the rear by the Bentley, which is quite nice though. The Bentley waiting for Leon Swan to finish, but unfortunately that little contact shuts off the entire engine, meaning you have to go through the entire power on cycle, which is not too bad, but quite still a bit of you lose a bit of time to anybody you're fighting there. Heartbreaking for Leon Swan, having a phenomenal race, fortunately all going to waste now, but that does allow Chantal Hansen to go past, as I believe she has gone past. Not 100% sure just yet. No, not yet. She is though closer to the likes of Leon Swan in the charge, as we do see another yellow flag. Jason Randall, unfortunately losing it there. Let's see what's going on. Unfortunately caught the rear end there. Hopefully not getting clipped again on the rear, sending him there. The Lexus not performing how he would have wanted. And just losing more and more time. We do see in the pit stop, however, Marcus Freysen and Jaco Engelbrecht. Jaco pulling in now, bumping over the very bumpy pit lane that is the Nurburgring circuit. And as the work gets done on the car for, I believe, the second stop in this race. Back up in the front, we do see two cars fighting it out here. Four position, Chris Striff and Volin Negrini fighting it out for 9th in overall standings, but 8th in class as they both go now. I do believe these are the two drivers that had earlier contact and unfortunately caused both of them to go a bit off in the kid at the very chicane they're approaching right now. Hopefully it might have been another driver, but it is still all to play for both of these drivers there, with Chris Schrief sticking in the slipstream, not getting the drive that he would have wanted. Volley able to defend and keep his line to really just get a good exit out of the corner there. Already a 10th up on his personal best time of a 56.8. So let's take a closer look as he crosses the line. Is he able to go a bit faster? He does, not his personal best time, but still there. As we do see Leon Swan going into the pits, I do hope that it's not a park. Nope, the car drops as the work is done on the car, as he has done his final pit stop for this race going on currently. Back out on track, we have the likes of, we're trying to find our closest battle here. Gianluca Palmarosa trying to fight the likes of Jakob Fritzl. It's quite a different side. Don't know what the time and tower is showing to be quite close to one another, as it is quite not. Our software a bit broken, one can say, but still a good fight between the two of them. Back in the lead, we have Kieran Harris. Not in a BMW. I do apologize for my earlier statement there, Kieran. As you, the two Harris brothers are sharing the same car, sharing knowledge with the car throughout the season. But Kieran setting the pace, running a 55.4 his previous lap, showing just how comfortable he is with that Mustang around the Nurburgring. And Rick Thomas only able to run a 56.5, not able to match the blistering pace set by Kieran Harris. But he has nothing to fear just yet, as Alexander Everingham is only running 57.0s. But Alexander does have to worry, because right behind him running the same lap times is Dani Bosch with 57.1. But otherwise than that, Chantal Hansen able to still run phenomenal paces, running the same lap times, even faster lap times than our second place position, running a 56.2, just showcasing that she is absolutely blistering the pace out there, able to just run away with this fight for our AM Silver fight. But taking it to our AM Gold drivers, really saying, listen here, I'm still able to keep it up with you guys out there in front. Running a bit wide though, actually tried to do the overtaking move there on a back marker on turn 1. Not really the light she would have wanted, but she is just keeping her head down, focusing on what needs to be done. She has quite a large gap to her closest competitor in film of class. But otherwise on circuit, many of the drivers just sorting into their rhythm, with Eduardo Garcia, our second retiree, unfortunately not going to see the end of this race. Michael Hasenbroek still here, hopefully getting the car fixed, but not going back out of circuit. So currently, ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 retirees: Michael Hasenbroek, Wesley Harrower, and Eduardo de Grassa. I do also see Matt Mayberg, a driver who's shown some phenomenal pace earlier on in the race. Unfortunately, also going and throwing and saying to the team, listen, put the car in the pits. We are done. Unfortunately, not in the server anymore. But back to the action on track. William Greeny fighting off Chris Greef. Two has been following one another close for the entire, well, for a few laps now, and it is Ferrari on Ferrari battle. Both cars equally matched. Only difference between them is the driver and the setup. Which driver has the better setup? Which driver is the best on the brakes, earliest on the throttle? I guess the drive out of the corners the hardest in order to get the overtaking move done on any of the drivers up in front. But he got a bit of a better run through the little game. Look him go to the inside. Volley cutting off his nose, saying, no thank you, you are not putting your nose up there. I'm taking this position. Some good placement of the car in order to defend Chris Greef, having to go back to the drawing board in order to make a move on Willy Negrini. Not what he would have wanted, hopefully to get a move done into the chicane. Not, but now he's got a long straight going into turn 1 before the hard braking there. Is he able to use the slipstream? Does he have the top end speed in order to close up onto the Greeny? As you do see a car in front there, standing still, facing the wrong way. Car number 7, that is our back marker. That is Ruan Scholes. Not what he would have wanted. Let's see what happened there. Let's take a bit of time back. He is being hunted down by, I believe, our leader. That's not our leader. That is the car in position 17, Gianluca Palmerosa. Car number 33. Apologies. That is car number 33. Unfortunately, lose it on its own, but there is contact between the two of them. Just getting onto the gravel, on the grass on the outside, which forces him and throws him around. That is Andrew Harris that got collected. Not what he would have wanted, and definitely not he would have wanted for this race. It's gone from bad to worse for the Racing Snails team of Andrew Harris there, as that will be damage on the left rear suspension of that Ford Mustang. The Bentley not really liking the newcomer of the front engine cars, taking the old school, saying old school is better than the new school, but unfortunately old school gets off second best, having spun and lost some time after already having to go and lose sort of a stop and go 30 for getting off of the pit limiter or going into the pits a bit too early there. Back out in the front, it is Rick Thomas still leading the way from the likes of Kieran Harris. Kieran might have gone into the pits and finished his last pit stop, I believe, or might have had a bit of an accident. I do not see any incidents coming through on our timing screens saying that he might have had a bit of a clip there with someone else. So that might have been just a bit of a pit stop earlier on, but it's quite strange to see him drop this far down. We'll keep an eye on his timing. Yes, it does say he did a 2:01 previous lap, so he definitely was into the pits in the fire as we enter the final 15 minutes of this race, with many drivers still need to go and do their final pit stop. Leon Swan back out on circuit after having gone and served and get the car fixed and get it all patched up the Lamborghini back to its full power there. The V10 screaming around the circuit as he is trying to claim some positions back from the position that he lost, but that car does not look very happy as it goes again into the dirt, kicking up a cloud dust there, not what he would have wanted. Let's take a look back into our field. Rick Thomas going into the pits, calling it and saying, I need to go and get this sorted. Rolling now, finally getting the final one done and dusted. This will promote the likes of Alexander Everingham into the lead with Kieran Harris in second. So Kieran Harris, the pit stop he did the previous lap, has pulled the trigger for our top three to go, well, our top two to go and get the pits done and dusted. Question is, where is Donnie Bosch? Donnie Bosch already rolling around. I do apologize for a bit of a stutter there, ladies and gentlemen. Looks to be just Donnie being a bit of a, don't know what's going on there. But Donnie now in third, which will later on promote him into second as soon as, if he has passed the likes of Rick, find out where Rick is on circuit. He has got to pass the likes of Rick Thomas, but Donnie still needs to box unless he did it previously. We do not know if he has done all of his pit stops just yet. That is something that we do need to know. And if we take a closer look, continue focusing on this little front battle that we have now being sorted out in the pit stop. We do see the likes of Francorchamps jumping into the pits to get that last one done and dusted, allowing Chantal Hansen to go up into fifth when they cross the line once again. But leading the way is Alexander Everingham of Racing Snails ZA, one of the multiple teams entered for Racing Snails, as they went on a great recruitment drive during the off-season, and they have quite a large amount of drivers, which is great to see, as many of these drivers are all developing drivers and rookies. As you can see, they're branded on the side, claimed to be rookies, with the main team, I believe, to have what the yellow livery to showcase that they are the main team, and this is the junior development team out there to get the drivers more involved in sim racing and develop their skills out there on circuit. But Alexander Everingham still keeping it out there on circuit, not going in yet to box, but we can confirm Timing Tower has updated. Kieran Harris is in second, Donnie Bosch in the Mercedes. Seems the Mercedes is not liking my system very much, or our broadcasting system very much, but the Mercedes is in third currently, but Kieran Harris in second. As soon as Alexander pits, that will allow the promotion of Kieran and Donnie into first and second, with Rick Thomas maybe into third if he has carried enough pace out his outlap. Further back down the field, we do have this battle for P8 still going on. P7 in class right now between Nurburgring and Chris Freef. These two have been glued to one another's tailpipes since how many laps ago we do not know, but they have been fighting out. But this did allow the likes of Rudy Fenter to get it all closer and closer. Rudy Fenter of Rootster Racing hoping to get involved in this fight to take it to them, but right behind them, it seems like some of the cars are not happy being shown on camera there. But Alvin Prim also hoping to gain from the far ahead of them if Rudy Fenter joins them. But the two closest fights currently on circuit is between Nurburgring and Chris Freef. These two following each other close to one another the whole time. I must say, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to give a bit of a shout out to the likes of Timothy Fillion. Timothy, laps down at the start of the race, having had issues, having had his car carry damage. As we can see, the bond still a bit not entirely fixed down, not entirely duct taped down, still continuing out there and racing, continuing and driving. So well done to you, Timothy. I tip my proverbial hat towards you, and I'm glad to see you continue going out there. But back again to our major fight here. Nurburgring, Chris Freef, and finally Rudy Fenter. Three-way fight for P8 in the overall standings in this race, but also P7 in class. It is a three-way fight, Ferrari on Ferrari versus Porsche. Who will be the manufacturer that proves to be the best? Rudy proving to have the better drive out of corners. As I say that, he messes up, going for a bit of a deeper line compared to what he normally does, and continues just losing a bit of time there. But Chris Freef sticking right to the tail of the car there. Quick back to the front there. Kieran Harris taking over the lead from Alexander Everingham. Alexander Everingham in fourth now, dropping 3 positions, allowing Donnie Bosch and Rick Thomas to go up 2 positions. Rick Thomas in 3rd, dropping a position from where he started, and Donnie Bosch gaining a position from where he has started from. Looking back now to Andrew Harris here. Franco Bosch and Andrew Harris, another fight on circuit. We have a fight for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th on the circuit currently. Some good close actions going on here. Andrew Harris, knowing he has pace, wants to go and get past the likes of Franco Buerta, but not making it very easy is Buerta, having gone a 10th faster over the likes of Andrew. But back here to this phenomenal fight. All of them almost in one shot, with car 27, which is Jaco Grissel, minding out of the way, saying, I'm not going to get involved in this, I'm jumping out the way. I might have ruined someone else's race. That was a bit of a dangerous, that was a bit of a no-no. That could be referred back to the stewarding office, as that can be seen as a very, very, very dangerous move. Not what we want to see, not what we want to have on circuit, fortunately. Trying to respect the rules, not what we want to have. Might be a bit of a trip and a wrapper on the knuckles for some bad driving. That did allow Rudy Feinter to get back into this fight once again, and Volin Green to get a bit of a breathing gap, but not much, with Chris Schiff showcasing he has the highest speed. He has a better speed to the likes of Volley, and just closes that gap once again to be less than a second, showcasing that the aero on the Ferrari of number 85 Ferrari is just better than that of number 15. Trying to keep an eye as we do have the fight of Franco Buerta and Andrew Harris almost all in one shot. Not entirely, with a fight of Volin Greeny and Krasiev being a bit higher up, but take a look at this move. Andrew going over the curbs, the Mustang able to take it, looking for the inside, not able to, bit too far back, backs out of it, decides to go better for that. Back to this fight. Volin Greeny. Now they are almost behind one another, so not too far up the road. It's the two of them. As we do have an accident for car number 3. Curious, I missed that one. Jean Clutter, unfortunately, just missing out there. And car number 14 getting a bit involved there. That will be with that. But Rudy Feinter not as being as good at maintaining, well, connection not being as well there for many of the drivers. Now I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. This is unfortunately something with ACC servers that are not quite functioning as it should, being a bit problematic for some of our cars there, especially in our little fight here with Chris Schiff getting a good drive out of turn 1 and turn 2, closing right up onto the rear of Volley and Greeny as we head into the final 7 minutes of this race. Volley hoping to defend as best as he can in an attempt to keep the position that he is currently, to not lose any points in this championship. It is a fight for 7th in class overall, meaning a great load of points will be calculated towards him. But a bad exit for Chris has allowed the likes of Rudy Feinter to get right back onto the tail of Chris Schiff. Chris Schiff running a bit wide as we jump into the helmet cam of the Porsche 992 Cup car. Absolutely screaming its way past in the uphill section for the Max Schumacher, getting a bit loose, but that is the nature of this car, being a bit loose in order to go fast. That is the Porsche there. But Chris not having the tire life, or might have overworked his tires a little bit and just grilling them a bit too much. Look at that slide. Absolutely love this camera, ladies and gentlemen. Just shows the amount of work that the driver is having to put in order to keep this car going around on the circuit here. So jump back out again to see what's going on here. But going off a bit there, I believe, is Volin Greeny. Nope, that's a Mustang. Andrew Harris getting it all wrong and losing more time. Let's see what happened here. We just saw the plume of smoke of the gravel getting kicked up as he tried to make a move on the likes of Franco Buerta. That has dropped him quite a little on the inside into the chicane, bumps wheels, gets forced, not able to stop the car, and that is just kitty litter and gravel and dirt and grass getting kicked up. Tires dirty, gets involved in the fight with Volley Greeny. Volley going defensive or going avoidant and going onto the grass. and Andrew trying to avoid him. Not what he would have wanted. The race to absolutely forget for the likes of Andrew Harris. Just a quick look back up front. Kieran Harris leads the way over the likes of Dani Bosch and Rick Thomas. No, not a big change. Kieran just asserting his dominance from green flag all the way till now. Not really, only losing the lead very much when it came to the pit stops. Otherwise, he has been holding a firm grip on that first position. We do have a yellow flag once again. If trying to find out which one it is now. Do not see a driver dropping down just yet. Trying to find out, do you go back to green flag racing? Going out there on the grid. So yeah, but in the final 4 minutes of the race, meaning about 3 more laps left for our drivers, Kieran Harris has set the tone and has set the benchmark for our drivers to say, listen, this is what you're going to have to do to beat me. I'm not going to make it easy for you. Back to our closest fight on circuit. We've got Volling Green still defending hard against the likes of Chris Schrift. This is now for P6 in the gold, but P7 overall in our race with Chantal Hansen sitting in 5th, not making it easier with Hansen still running a 57. Still close race pace compared to those of our front runners. If she was able to get closer, she might have overtaken even Alexander Everingham for 4th. But take a look at this. Chris Schrift getting a great run, goes around the outside. Hold it, hopes for a cutback, hoping to get it ready, not able to do it, just too far back. Greeny better on the brakes and able to get a better drive out of the corner. Not able is Chris Schrift to make the move there. He will have 2 more attempts into turn 1 if he wants to get this position off of Greeny, which I don't suspect this is going to happen. Let's take a quick look at our silver class as well. This fight's going on. Leading the way is Chantal Hansen, absolutely not making a mistake tonight, just keeping it smooth sailing as she sits pretty in 5th position. In 2nd position in our silver is Lucas Hubat, the Mercedes grunting along and holding a great position there and not losing any pace. Then in 3rd place we've got Jean-Luca Palmarosa. After having a bit of contact in the opening stages of the race, it is great to see him fighting or sitting in 3rd and holding the position, not losing any time to anybody around him and just keeping his space circling around. But back to the main fight in front. The Greeny able to open up quite a significant gap over Chris Schrift. Not much, as Schrift able to close it down once again. But right in front of them, you see that red and black colored Ferrari. That is the Ferrari of François Bourton. That is 6th overall, 5th in class. So if they are able to, they will be able to go and get him. But Kieran Harris is going to come across the line to start the penultimate lap after exiting this right-hander and the long run onto chicane, the WEC or BEC chicane, which you use to normally exit onto the northern loop, or as we know it, the Nordschleife. Kieran flashing his light saying, listen, I know you're a back marker, but please, please, please do not foul me up. Do not foul me up. I got my closest competitor right behind me. See if we can get him there in a shot. Can't see him, but we do have Ron there, hoping to get out the way. Does mind out the way. Well done. Timothy, unfortunately, back in the pits there, but back to our front runners. Kieran Harrison starting the penultimate lap.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim, for telling me there that it's now the final lap. So final lap for Kieran Harris, leading the way leading from start all the way to finish. Knock on wood, ladies and gentlemen, because I do not want to be the reason for commentator's curse. But Kieran Harris leading the way. Taking a quick look here. Rick Thomas not having a fight with anyone around him, but Benny Greeny having a close fight with the likes of Chris Schrift. But taking a look at our front runner pack. Kieran Harris going through the stadium section for the final time, as he is just cruising now home on autopilot. Oh, bit of a foul up. What happened here? François Bourton losing drive from that back marker. Let's just take a quick look here and see what has happened. Seems to have been caught up there by the back marker, which has allowed the likes of Volnegrini and Chris Schrift to get closer, but not close enough just yet. as the timer has hit 0 for the race, meaning it has all come to an end now. Kieran Harris going through the Schumacher S's for the final time. Hard left, hard right, over the curbs, then pulling over to the right side, hard on the brakes as the green AstroTurf starts. Chuck it to the left, gets a bit of a drifty there, chuck it to the right, and it's a long run all the way down to the WEC chicane. The Mustang proving to be unbeatable, proving to be the benchmark for our drivers out here tonight. Kieran Harris, for the final time, hard on the brakes, chucks it left, chucks it right, accelerates again, rumbling over the ship's exit curb, hard on the brakes for the final time, turns right, and he will see the checkered flag as he wins round 2 here at the Nurburgring.
The leader has finished the race.
In second place, we got Dani Bosch having a strategic masterclass for leading the race for a while, having a great undercut, coming in second for the Mercedes-AMG GT3, drifting it out the last corner and across the line. And in third place in the background, we see Rick Thomas crossing the line in third, getting a great run there. For our AM Silver class, we have the unbeatable, the unfazed Chantal Hansen getting the lead of the championship from the likes of Jean Cloete. Jean Cloete having an absolutely abysmal race, but Chantal Hansen, showing cool, calm and collected throughout this race, is able to take the victory as she goes for the final time through the small little kink, the long run onto the WC chicane, hard on the brakes, rumbling over the cornering strips there. And as she exits the final corner, she will see the checkered flag for the winner of our AM Silver division for round 2. In second position, we see Lucas Chabert already crossing the line and claiming second in class. So well done to there. And then Jean-Luca Palmarosa getting third for our AM Silver class. Congrats to all drivers and well done to everyone out there on the race. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had some great racing out there tonight. Some great racing, as we do see some drivers maybe heading their way to the pits, as well as getting sorted and going to get done, well, just getting a bit of water after an extremely long race. We had action throughout the race from the start to the finish, with drivers having some issues and needing to fight some stuff out there, but having a bit of problems, of course, but proving that strategy and grit just is the best when it comes to getting that podium spot for your class, no matter what. Gonna get some of our highlights rolling here for our race while we wait for some of our drivers, if they do want to join us in the comms box, to shine a bit of light on them also.
It's my first podium in RaceFace. Yeah, it's wonderful. I put a lot of practice in getting the win, so I'm glad with the result.
I mean, he's racing. I just realized I muted my mic while I was waiting for everybody to join. So that's my fault. A bit that everybody knew on this side. Am drivers there, and I'm learning my side also. But take us through the race. How did it feel for you? Was it a bit of a difficult one? How was the traffic for you in order to navigate it, in order to get that position? How would the strategy-wise? How did that work?
Yeah, I didn't do tires, and I think that bite me, but at the end of the race I lost a lot of traction. But yeah, we'll see how the next one goes.
Well, you did say that right. The next one is going to be quite an important one, but this also benefits your championship standings, boosting you up quite a lot in the standings, I believe. Not 100% sure. But the next one that we're heading to is America, the world of the corkscrew at WeatherTech Laguna Seca. A very technical track, a very tricky track. How do you feel looking forward for that circuit?
Yeah, I'll have to practice a lot for Laguna. It's not one of my favorites, so we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do, and I'm eager to see the results that you're able to pull there. Congratulations. I'm going to let you go to go celebrate with the team.
Thank you.
Next up, we have third place of our AM Gold, the likes of Mr. Rick Thomas. Welcome to the commentary box for the first time in quite a long time, and a long time that me and you have spoken.
Yes, it was all in Bandacity, I think. I remember. Very cool.
Yeah, quite some time. We both shared a team at that point in time, Bandacity there. But Rick, you were busy fighting it out the entire race with the likes of now my brain's completely forgotten about that one. And not just Bosch, but also Kieran Harris. I mean, from the start,
Yes.
you three set the pace immediately. You both went and you set the pace, saying this is what's going to happen, this is how it's going to be. How did that play into your strategy? Was it a bit difficult? Was it a bit strange?
No, I think it was pretty much kind of what I expected. But kudos to Harris. He drove super consistent. I just couldn't keep up consistency-wise. And I think because of the consistency issue, I think Bosch overtook me on the pit stops as well. But nonetheless, those guys were quick. So happy with third place.
Well, a podium is a podium, and it's one that we will normally always say we take it with glee. So really well done to you. I'm going to give the mic towards you. Keep it PG, keep it friendly. You can challenge anyone out of the grandstand, or you can even just give a shout out to supporters or any of your team members.
Well, just shout out to anybody who watches, but especially my teammates. Extreme Racing, we made a clan or a team earlier this year. And yeah, so far we're doing well. I think Herman Webner got 9th or 8th in Pro. I'm not sure where. I think Bauer had a disconnect or something. But those guys really help us a lot on track. So hopefully next year we're in Pro-Am and more podiums to come.
Well, that's what we're always hoping for, getting our AM drivers to go up and attack some of our pros there. So I'm going to let you go celebrate the team. Well done on a hard-fought third place.
Thanks, Shiz.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring in Mr. Lucas Hubert of GSRT. Mr. Lucas, welcome to the commentary box. I haven't spoken to any of the drivers before, maybe one or two, when we're talking nonsense in the Discord. But well done on your finishing result. I mean, you were driving the Mercedes of all time. You were second, I believe, in your class. Well done on that. Yes, second. There we go. Second in your class. How does it feel to? I mean, you didn't have the best race or best start, but you're able to pull that Mercedes all the way through and bring some German pride in Germany.
Yes, luckily it all comes from experience from previous races. I'm not the fastest on track, so I need to play the smart game and do my planning on the outlap of the race. So to make sure that I can get the best drive without any incidents throughout the race.
Well, it definitely played into your favor. I mean, we didn't notice any incidents coming up on our little sheet regarding your car, but we did see you playing smart, as you mentioned. Not having the strategy of going fast, flat out, just being mindful of what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yes, definitely constant laps, good laps, and keeping out of incidents and so on, and giving planning ahead before blue flags, especially the faster class and drivers, to make sure that one don't lose so much time regarding that.
I guess it just comes down to show that you don't have to be the fastest in order to play it smart. So, Lucas, I'm going to give you the mic. You can give a shout out. You can give words to anybody you want to. The floor is yours. As always, PG-13. Oh, not PG-13, just PG. Keep it friendly for us, and you can challenge whatever you want to say.
To all the GSRTs out there, in the other server, great race guys, and to anyone that listens, well, I can just encourage people to join RaceFace races and even sim racing and try it out. And it can be expensive, but you don't need to have a fancy rig. Just start off good, and see if you enjoy it, and come and join RaceFace and some of the other communities, and enjoy just the people that you race with. There is some headbutting, but we all do this for fun, and well, I do it for fun, but we're all here to have some great times for something that we have everyone has in common.
Well, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there, Lucas. I'm going to let you go now to go celebrate with the team. Congratulations on your second place, and congrats to the GSRT team for great result.
Thank you, Cameron. Thanks for the commentary. Great commentary there, eh?
I try my best. We all do.
Great.
Now, I wanted to pull in the likes of the winners of our division, well, our AM Silver division, but I'm going to call in our third place in our AM Silver, Gianluca Palmarosa of Racing Snails. Gianluca, welcome. Yeah, welcome to the commentary box. You Racing Snails are definitely not snails out there on the circuit.
Thank you.
I mean,
it was a tough race today. Had a big accident and I believe it was lap 1. Threw my entire strategy out the window, and I had to just absolutely race my way back to the front.
well, you did a phenomenal job in doing that. You did mention, I did see a message sent your way saying, sorry for the lap 1 incident there. So we knew you had that, but that just showcases the pace that you had within the car and underneath you to be able to pull the car into third place, for your for your silver division. That just shows the promise that you had with that car, with the setup that you were running. Does that demoralize you a bit, or take hurt a bit, one can say?
I'm quite happy with where I finished. I felt like my pace was a bit off, especially since I had to just run my car super heavy the whole time, because I was losing so much time because of how much damage I had. I had to refuel quite early, and then I was running high fuel for pretty much majority of the race until basically the end. So my pace did feel a bit off, but I was still quite happy with the way it went. I was quite motivated, quite happy that I finished in third. I honestly thought I was quite a far way down.
Well, you showed that pace was still there even after everything, and did a massive fight back. So well done on that. I'm going to give you the mic to shout whatever you want to. Always family friendly. You can give a challenge to whoever you want.
I'd just like to shout out to all the Racing Snails. Mike Berg for inviting me to the team. I'm coming for Chantal. The last race, I messed myself up with a good drive-through penalty. I mean, a stop-go. This race, another unfortunate incident, but hopefully I'll be up there at the top against them again.
Oh, it's always good to have a bit of a fight out there in the world of racing. So I'm gonna let you go. Go celebrate your teammates. You racing snails absolutely deserve it. Gonna start calling you turbos, I believe, because you are absolutely flying. Congratulations again on the podium there. Go celebrate with your team.
Awesome, thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be bringing in the woman on a rocket ship, Chantal Hansen. You have shocked everyone out there, going fourth in qualifying and not dropping the lead at all during the entire race for your class.
I tried. I practiced a lot. Let's just put it that way.
Well, you can say you practice, but there's also a bit of skill involved in that, and that skill is speed also. You, at one point, even led the race. I think many people might even consider saying, Chantal needs to be moved up a division.
If I don't practice, I will be at the back of Silverstone. It very much depends. I had coaching and everything this week.
Well, it was
So
great to see you.
It took a lot.
Yeah, well, it's great to see you
Thank
there. I
you.
mean, I'm thinking back many, many years now, all the way into 2020s, where we shared a track. I was always, I don't think we were around one another much by the time, but I do remember seeing you circulating around the track, and you are one of the older racing members, not in terms of age, in terms of longevity at RaceFace, to have gone and raced there. I believe this is your first season back after taking a bit of a hiatus.
It's my first season back after multiple times that I've taken breaks, yes. I started in 2020 in lockdown, basically, and then I took last year, most of the year off. I started out the first season of last year, and I think I did 2 races, and then life happened again.
Well, you did show that even though with you taking breaks, you are still able to carry a lot of pace. You can say it as much as you want to coaching and whatnot, but sometimes there is just raw pace, as my fellow commentator Stephen Koenig would say, that you have the pace, just you need to unlock it a bit more. But I want to say congratulations from my side again. You
Thank you.
are a name I hope to see a lot more on the top of the Silver division and hopefully win it. But again, I'm not picking favorites. I'm just a guy talking to a mic, showcasing the action. But from our side, congratulations. I'm going to give you the mic for your for any words you want to say. If you don't have anything, that's also fine. But the mic is yours.
I don't really have anything to say. I honestly didn't know I was supposed to come here. It was thrown on me quite quickly.
It's a bit of a new experience. We want to showcase some of the talent for our for our up and coming drivers. But yeah, no worries. I'm gonna let you go celebrate. You deserve it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on circuit again next week at Laguna Seca.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be bringing in Kieran Harris. Kieran Harris, the man in the American muscle, leading from green to checkered, except for dropping the lead every now and then due to pit stops, but was otherwise untouchable the entire race. How does it feel to have that first place board in front of your car, Kieran?
It was pretty good. I came second place in the last race, so moving up in the world.
Well, you are hitting the hammer on the head there. You got second place. However, it also boosts your championship. You mean you were fighting for the lead along with, I'm assuming Andrew is your brother.
Yes. He's in the exact same car
Yes,
as me,
it
so
took
on track
me-
it can get a bit confusing.
It took, I saw the name, but then I was like, you have to take a bit of, is it your brother, is it not? You never know. However, we did saw that his race went from good to a bit bad with some incidents involving even his teammates with Racing Snail's side. But you were untouchable. It seems as soon as you hit clean air, you would just pull a gap and say goodbye, thank you, I will see you next time around.
Yeah, I can say thank you to everybody behind me who kept it clean through T1, because that's normally where everything ends. But we all got through T1 pretty clean. I was expecting a couple more incidents, and then from there, just took it easy on lap 1, get the tires up to temperature nicely before pushing hard, and then I kept a pretty consistent pace throughout the race, which was pretty good. Changed the tires around the 40-minute mark because they started going off on me, but it was all good after that. Just kept it on track. There was one incident with a back marker, but it wasn't catastrophic, and just rode it home.
You mentioned that the race starts again. You seem to be just having control over that entire pack, and then at the very, very end, as soon as the lights hit green, you timed it perfectly, able to accelerate, not even an attack from the likes of Rick Thomas or even Donnie to be able to get close to you in that entire fight. Is that just something playing in your favor, or was that a bit of a strategy going into the race?
I did get a pretty good reaction time on the line, but I think that they were a little bit behind their green box. How do I explain it properly? But like, there's a green box that tells you like where you need to be in the rolling start, and I think that they were a little bit behind to begin with, and then I got off well at the green light, so they were like almost 0.2, 0.3 of a second behind me going into T1, so they didn't really have much of an opportunity there.
Well, you did mention that start then, and also a little bit of a contact with the back marker. How was navigating the traffic in order to get to the end? At some points, it got a bit hairy between fights we saw with other drivers. How did you experience it?
Some back markers were much nicer than others. They were aware of the blue flags and let you through timely, which was nice of them. I appreciate that, but other back markers seem to be a bit oblivious of the blue flags, and some seem to get a little bit stressed out and make mistakes while you're going past. But overall, the back markers were pretty good today. Very few incidents. There were a couple of times that I caught like a pack of 3 that were racing for position, and that was a little bit sketchier because, well, they don't want to lose time, and I don't either, so kind of got to send it a little bit, but I should have been a little bit more cautious, but luckily nothing bad happened.
Well, they did mention the scaries of having to race with people of many different skill levels, but I'm going to give you the mic now before I let you go. You can give a shout out to everyone, you can lay down a challenge, you can say what you want, just keep it PG. Floor's yours, mic's yours, all yours.
I don't really have any challenges to send out, but thanks to everybody for keeping it clean for the most part during that race. It was a decent step up in driver quality from the first race. Everybody seems to have put in some time and effort to get a little bit better, be a bit more aware of their surroundings, and thanks to them.
Thank you very much, Kieran, for joining us in the commentary box. I'm going to let you go and enjoy some time with your team and go celebrate the victory that you hard-fought victory that you had out here at the Nurburgring. Congratulations to you and your Racing Snails team.
Thank you very much, will do. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening too.
Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it. I thank you all for joining me tonight here in the first round of, well, what can we say, our first live stream event for our AM Gold and Silver class. Thank you for joining me. To everyone in the virtual grandstand, I want to say a big thank you for everything there and for cheering on your drivers. However, we are not just done yet. Well, for the week we are done, but for next week we have some serious action planned. On Wednesday, we have our LMU series heading out and fighting out there in our GT3 races going on that side. And then again, next week, Thursday, we are heading over to the land of the free. We're heading over to America in the desert, where we are going to be racing right next to Laguna Seca, the corkscrew, the infamous corkscrew, tricky and very difficult to drive. I want to say thank you to everybody there, and also keep your eyes out for our iRacing League. It's going to be starting off the 3rd of March. If you ever want to go into the iRacing side, head on over to our Discord and get the role and keep an eye out for the announcement saying that it is going to be live. From myself, Cameron de Bastos, and the whole team at THD Productions, I want to say thank you for joining me in this, for this race, and I hope you all have a lovely evening. I'm going to copy my good friend Stephen Koenig's catchphrase saying, good morning, good evening, and good night, everybody.